What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back to the Bridging the Gap podcast. I hope you're all well. I hope everyone is having a good day. If you're listening to this in the morning, hope you had a good sleep. If you're just about to go to bed, I hope you sleep well. So another day, another podcast. I didn't have time last week to get a podcast in just because I head home for the weekend, actually. I went to go see the old mumsy. So unfortunately couldn't get one out. I try and do these once a week. You gotta appreciate it. I am stonked every day. I'm full to the brim with work, so fitting this in sometimes I have to prioritize other things. But I definitely want to make this. I kind of want to do more podcasts. I do want to do like maybe 2 a week or so, but it's quite difficult to find the time at the moment. But we've got some news. We'll talk about this in a minute, because first, I just want to say thank you to today's podcast sponsor, Heavy Duty Gym Wear. Now, I've been seeing the Heavy Duty Gym Wear around the gym. I've been seeing it everywhere, which is good. It's great. They sponsor the podcast, so they're doing bits. So I remember seeing them up in Fit Expo. I've seen people wear it in Crayford weights now. I've seen a few people wear it in Crayford, my gym. I've seen a few people wear it in even in Orpington as well. Like a few gyms that I've been to, I've seen a few Heavy Duty Gym Wear wearers. Heavy Duty Gym Wearers. So thank you to those guys. Check them out, Heavy Duty Gym Wear. You can type them in on Google. You can check them out on Instagram. They're kind of up and coming bodybuilding brand, and they're doing really well. And it's crazy to see, like, when I first started talking about them, or even talking to them, whatever, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, maybe even longer than that. I'd never seen it. I'd never seen the stuff, and then they sent me some stuff out, enjoyed it, wore it. And since then, I've just sort of seen it everywhere. So, hats off to the guys at Heavy Duty Gym Wear. I appreciate you for sponsoring this podcast. And let's get into the podcast. So like I was saying, I'm very much in that position where shite is busy. So I say shite. I mean my life. My business is... like for those of you guys who probably don't know, or maybe some of you all do know, maybe you want to hear it again, maybe you don't want to hear it again, but I'm going to say it anyway. So I have a few businesses that I kind of run. I say that like I'm some type of some mad entrepreneur. So I have my coaching business, which is probably what takes up the majority of my time at the moment. It's also my biggest income, so that's why I spend a lot of time on it. Many clients, natural, not natural. A lot of people competing this week as well, which has been taking up a lot of time, because when you get close to a competition, you're checking in every day. So I've got everyday check-ins for, maybe 10 people. They've all got a peak. I've got 5 people peaking this week, so there's even more contact through the day. So it's a little bit more hands-on at the moment as such, which is fine, because that's why we do the coaching. I also have like I do social media for a job. Like, I literally treat it like a job, and I think that's what gets me to where I'm going, to a certain extent. Like, that's what gets me these followers. That's what gets me, especially now that I've kind of made that transition. I would say January this year. I was like, right, I'm going to treat this damn shit like a job. I'm going to invest money into it. So obviously we have Andy, the videographer, who's definitely more than a videographer. I call him Andy the videographer, but he has like creative input. He also does all the shots for Wanamara and stuff. So I definitely treat social media like a job. So like, I've got to think about a post every day. I've got to think about if I can do a reel. I've got to think about what I can put on my stories. I try and plan content. We do 3 videos a week, which is, I know for people who watch, they're like, oh, it's not too bad, you're just filming while you're training. But actually, we've got to plan the exercise, we've got to plan the workout, we've got to plan how to film it, we've got to plan how to make it different. Because I can stick a microphone on me and talk through every single training session that I do, but it's going to wear thin very, very quickly. So we have to constantly innovate the way that we present content. So you might have noticed we've got I've done like how to grow your back exercises before, and we've done like a back session. I've talked you through how to do the back to grow your back, but now we've started to do some sit downs, some like, I'm going to talk to the camera and overlay some stuff of how you can specifically grow these things. We started to do those as a series. We've just brought in the raw workout series, which we're going to keep as a trend going through the off season, where I'm not gonna lie, like it helps me a little bit because you guys gotta remember, and I sometimes feel bad for saying this, but also I don't, because it's my fucking life and my goal. Like, bodybuilding comes first for me. It really, really does. And if I get to the point where content is like, I'm stressing so much over content, it affects my sessions. I would drop the fucking content. Like, that's the reality. I would stop Instagram. I would stop everything to be able to get towards my goal. I don't need to do that. I'm never going to be put in that situation to actually choose, which is great. But it gives me those raw workouts give me a chance just to get fucking nasty with the weights on my own and not have to worry about educating to the camera or anything like that. Andy can just fly on the wall, film me, and I can just get after it. So they do help me, but they're also really nice videos as well because they're just like super clean. I love watching people work out, getting really, really hard for it. So getting really, really hard workouts in, I should say, not hard for it. And then we've got, we have full days of eating, we have collaborations. There's so many layers that we try and think about always. Like 3 videos a week, that's 150 videos a year. It's a lot of videos to try and not make the same, to try and make it a different environment, to try and offer some different value that if I'm doing a back workout in September and I did a back workout in January, like how can I make that different to last time? So it's a constant innovation process for sure. And then obviously we've got the podcast, which is a little bit more off the cuff, which is kind of nice. I can just pick up, like I haven't planned anything for today. I can just kind of give you guys some updates and just waffle on about absolute breeze, but hopefully offer you guys some good content there. But obviously, there's layers to the content that we try and think about. Obviously that takes up a lot of time. And then we've got 1MR. So 1MR at the moment is absolutely killing it. It really, really is killing it. And there's a lot of behind the scenes that you don't see, right? You just don't see them. I also don't talk about them that much. I probably talk about them more on the podcast because it's a time when I can kind of get my thoughts out, but we don't do videos about them. But I'm definitely going to start doing videos about 1MR and, like the, what's it called? The supply chain, the process of making a product, for example, because we don't just do clothing, right? Everyone can find a clothing manufacturer and put their label on it and even make it specific, because most clothing manufacturers these days, you don't have to, like, sometimes with clothing manufacturers, you'll have they'll send you a catalog of, whatever, these are our t-shirts, these are our hoodies, and you can choose from that and put your branding on it. I don't use that. I make everything from scratch. But there's a lot of companies that do that as well. So that's obviously more straightforward, but the actual accessory game is the thing that I'm probably more interested in. And as much as I got to be careful with, this is how I do this and this, because I'm not like number one in the industry, for example, or like a huge name in the industry, like a Gymshark or an Outfleet or a MyProtein or a Bulk Powders or any of those big companies, or SBD or a Strength Shop. I'm nowhere near those guys. So I want to be, it's going to sound weird, but I want to be careful with this is how I make my cuff. This is how I make these D handles, because everything I do is better than them. I'm cussing you out, boy. Nah. Those companies are great, and they're the companies that I bought off for years and years and years. But I'm adding my own twist onto things, and I personally feel like my stuff is really fucking good. So I don't want to just go, this is where I got this is how I did this is how you can do it, because it gives the blueprint to people to just go, right, we're going to murk him at the game. So for example, this is the stuff that I definitely shouldn't say, but not enough people. This is the stuff that I probably shouldn't say publicly. And if I had someone who managed me, for example, a lawyer, who'd be like, don't say this, Josh. But if a company that was 100 times bigger than me came and saw my product and saw, you sold how many of those? How many people use those? Everyone. All right, well, we're going to do it, and we can do it cheaper, and we can do it better, and we can do it faster, and we have a bigger audience than you, and they could just murk me out of business. So you got to be careful. I don't think like Gymshark would do it, but imagine Gymshark made a cuff. Like everyone in the UK knows what Gymshark is, right? No one knows who 1MR is or Josh, or like some people do. But if they made a cuff and it was like as good as mine, for example, or whatever, they can make it better because they've got the money to do it. Would that put me out? It wouldn't put me out of business, I'm sure, but it would definitely give me a run for the money, right? But I don't think. The reason why I say that out loud is because I don't think Gymshark would do that. But you've got to be careful with these things. So I definitely want to give as much of the supply chain as I can, but without giving away the secrets. Like, I think once I'm established, more established, I should say, then I'm definitely up for it. I think what helps me is that I'm doing it all myself and I don't have a middleman, whereas a lot of the influencers, so you'll see a lot of influencers like Caroline O'Mahony, Brandon Harding, a lot of these guys will use like a middleman who will, and to be honest, it's a really, really good idea from them. Like, it's not necessarily a good idea. Well, it's a good scenario for them, right? Because they put X amount of money into a project, and that company will make them branded knee sleeves, wraps, straps, cuffs, whatever. I think Caroline has hip thrust pads and bands for the knee, like for the glutes and stuff. So it's really easy for them without having to do the legwork. Like, why would you not do that if you've got this huge name, this huge platform? Instead of to build that platform and to run those businesses that they probably have as well, like, it takes a lot. So what they do is they outsource all of that, like, you'd call it like merch / apparel, because like I always say, if Strength Shop and SBD do, knee sleeves, and you just do the exact same one, and then you tell someone who supported you for 10 years, these my knee sleeves are no better than the normal ones you can get, like, odds are they're still going to buy them from you because they want to support you, right? And that's the same thing for these guys. So they can basically pay a company, or they may not even pay the company. They may give the company like a percentage of the revenue or percentage of the sales, and the company does everything. They will source. They've got warehouses. They can source the materials. They can source the branding. They probably have in-house designers. They probably have everything, like every single part of that chain, which I've got to find individually. They've got every moving part ready. So you just go to the company, right, I want to do this. And they go, oh, cool, we've done that 10 times over. This is how we're going to do it, and this is how you're going to put your name to it. So it works really, really well for those guys because they've got the huge audiences, and they just, like, if you've got 600,000 people and 10% of them buy, a product, that's 6,000 people that would potentially buy a 15 to 50 pound purchase, which then turns into 80, like 40, 50,000 pounds. Like, it's a lot of money when you're in those numbers. And, let's face it, they might have better retention now. They might have more than 10% of people buying stuff. So, it's a no brainer for those guys, especially. It's like they don't need to put the legwork in because they've got a company who's put the legwork in like years and years and years. And I definitely, I don't want to say that I would have done that, but I probably would have done that. Like, I probably would have done that if I, one, had the money, and two, had the following, because it's a lot of work. But like, what I do now is super fulfilling, and I love having a really, really big hand in the process. The issue is it's really demanding. Like, it's really, really demanding trying to manage so many moving parts. Like, I have to find the designers, I have to find the suppliers, I have to talk to the suppliers daily to try and get the perfect product. I have to, I've got a guy who sorts my warehouse, but we have to liaise back and forth with the warehouse, but he runs the warehouse. I have to get him onto the back end of the system. I got my own Squarespace, I run my own website. I have to find someone to build my website. I've got my own inventory list and stock list that I update. I've got to get my own products shot. For example, like, every single product that you've seen on the website has been shot by Andy because I send it to him. He shoots it in his makeshift studio. Like, every single moving part of Wanamar is done by me at this moment in time, which has been really, really fulfilling, and I love it. I do love it. But there are times where I'm like really, really fucking stressed because I've got 15 clients to check in, 2 manufacturers to talk to. I do all the customer service for Wanamar, so I've got 10, 15 messages of people that, whatever, maybe they've got the wrong size, maybe there's an issue with the product. We're still a growing company. Like, we've sold over 6,000 pairs of cuffs. Like, for some of those cuffs to break is not it's not uncommon, right? Out of 6,000 pairs, if 20 pairs break, or let's keep it to a number, if 60 pairs break, that's only 1%. That's like a 1% break rate, right? That's actually not too bad, because 99% of what you sell is absolutely fine. But that's still 60 people that need a new product that could happen. And so and when you get into those upper numbers of selling something, obviously more stuff goes, like, you got more stuff to deal with, because that percent can still be 1%, but you sell 10,000, and then there's 100 products that you need to change, refund, give store credit, and so I'm that guy who does everything at the moment, and it's like juggling 1,000 plates, but it's getting extremely hectic. And then that stress leads into my personal life, where I say my personal life, I call my bodybuilding my personal life. Like, I get stressed, I get anxiety. Like, for example, not yesterday, the day before, Monday night, like, I had really, really bad anxiety, and because I had so much to do, and I felt really, really, like, I just didn't feel good, and I wasn't mentally cognizant. I was tired. I couldn't sit down. Like, I was just tired. I felt ill. I had the sniffles, felt run down. I can't stop. Like, I'm in that position where I can't stop. I can't take a day off. I can't get ill. I can get ill, but I've got to work when I'm ill, and that's quite hard, because not only do I have to manage all those moving parts, but I've also got to make sure that I eat 4,700 calories, sleep enough, rest enough, train hard enough, get my steps done, do my cardio, my non-train. Like, there's a lot to handle. And like, when you get a knockback, like for example, this weekend, the worst thing about this weekend was, that was Monday when I had my really bad anxiety. I was starving before I had the anxiety, my stomach blew out, and I just couldn't even finish my macros for the day. And then I stress about not hitting the macros, and it folds over to the next day. And then the weekend before, like, I'm at home with my mum, and I've got to spend time with her, so I miss a few messages, I miss a few emails, and I'm behind, and you can fucking hear the panic in my voice as I think about it. Like, there's a lot on my plate, and I've bitten off a lot. So I just wanted to, like, give like a background into how what I do. Like, every day is fucking hectic. Like, as I sit here, I can see 28 emails that have come to me in the last 12 hours, because I finished all my emails at 7 last night, and I've got 28 more emails. Granted, some of them are going to be fucking bullshit, but there's going to be 10 inquiries there. There's going to be 3 or 4 messages from manufacturers there. There's going to be an email from X, Y, and Z for collaborating. So there's a lot going on, and then, like, there's the one-on-one, there's the coaching, there's the online social media, but then there's also like sponsors and stuff. So I've got to make sponsored content. For example, Manscaped have just reached out. I've got another company that I've just reached out that I really want to work with as well. Like, that's consistent content that you've got to plan for. And it's not like, I'm at that level now where I can't just take a picture of it and tag them, really, because it's not good enough. Like, it is good enough, but it's not good enough for the quality that I want to give, right? Like, back in the day, protein company sends you a whey protein, you take a picture of the whey protein, thank you for sending this out, tag them. Like, that's it. This is like levels. And I can't believe I'm at this level, but there's levels to this. When companies are paying you in excess of £500 to £600 for, one post on your story, one post on your main page, and then one post on my YouTube video. For example, Manscaped, they pay me £650, right? I'll just say that. They pay me £650 for one story, one post, and one YouTube integration. But like, people are hearing that, they're going, wow, that's shitloads of money for not a lot. But you got to think within, like, they'll give you a specification of what you should generally talk about, how you should present it. And it's high level. It's high level. It really, really is. Like, so I have to pay Andy to come to my house and film, the B-roll, the small footage, because it can't just be on my phone. Like, I can't do that anymore, because if you're getting paid that much money, you've got to present it properly. So, I take my top off, I do a scene where I'm shaving my chest, and then I put it on, I talk about the product, then Andy has to go away and film the B-roll of the product. So, and don't forget, I pay Andy whatever in excess of $250, so that's some of that product gone already. Not, but I'd pay him for the day anyway. But so there's a lot that has to go into just even one sponsored post these days. It's not just like you can't just like snap and shoot these days, or I can't snap and shoot anymore. But I also think that if you adopt that mentality of presenting something really, really well, like I wish I did this when I had 10,000 followers, and I wish I'd gone above and beyond for people that had sponsored me or paid me for a post, for example. So yeah, you got to be very, very careful. And like, you know, brands can even turn around and just say, no, that's not good enough. So for example, Legend London, they have a very specific criteria where like the full body needs to be in the picture, preferably with the jeans. So whenever I get paid per month for Legend London, which we actually did a few, I think in August actually we did it, because they had a new drop, so they go out and they'll pay a few influencers to talk about their product. And I don't accept, like I get sent these offers daily. I could probably make thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds like monthly, but I don't accept like 90% of them, because it's just like some of them are just shit. Some of them are so shit. Like I had one the other day and it was just like, we're the new YouTube, we'll pay you whatever £400 to £500 for a YouTube integration. Like, you're paying me to put a thing on YouTube to say don't use YouTube when my whole business is on YouTube. I'm like, it's just, I can't just take that money. It doesn't feel right. So I only really use people that I've used before. Like I use Legend London. I could find a post of me in a pair of Legend London jeans in 2016, I reckon, because it was the first pair of jeans that could fit my legs, even though they were tiny back then. You know, I've used them for years, and actually the Manscaped, I bought Manscaped like literally a year ago to the day almost before they messaged me. So it's like, it's a no-brainer. I've used their product for a year, and then they've come up and said, oh, we'd like they haven't seen me use their product. So it's kind of just like stars have aligned. So yeah, I wouldn't just click anyone. And the next one that I was thinking, that I was looking at was, it's the wallet that I've used. I don't know if I've ever had it on the YouTube channel, but I've had this wallet for like 3 years. It's like basically like a card holder. It's called a Ridge wallet, and the Ridge have just like messaged me to do a collaboration on the YouTube, and I'm like, well, of course, because I've literally bought your wallet 3 years ago. And actually, I told the owner that. The owner was like, introduced himself, blah blah blah. I said, that's so funny. I bought a Ridge wallet 3 years ago, and he sent me a screenshot of the order. He was like, thanks for the support. It was like 2000, like November 2018, I think it was. So it's absolutely crazy. I can't quite believe the circle that's come round right now. I know you've missed that. So yeah, like that's kind of what has to go into. It's not. I'm at that level. I feel that quality can't slip, and my output can't slip, and if I slip, I fall. Like, that's how it feels, right? So there's a lot of pressure at the moment. I feel like I've not breathed for the last like 15 minutes after explaining my life. But yeah, so obviously it sounds very hectic, and like the obvious thing would be, Josh, why don't you get some help? Well, I am actually. So I am meeting one of my, I mean, this is pretty lucky, but it's one of my best friends on this planet, someone who I would hand over my bank account for, and know that not one single thing would ever go anywhere, no matter how much was in there. I would lay down my life for this guy, and vice versa. But he also has worked as a business consultant since pretty much since he left the university at 24. So the last like 4 or 5 years, he's been a business consultant, and he's worked his way up really, really high into some ranks. And he offers, he's not like full into bodybuilding, but he understands the culture really, really well. But he also understands a lot of cultures, and he understands how to run a business and put processes in and hand over the reins. And it's like when it's your baby, he's actually the guy that used to say Wanamar to me. So I might have said in my podcast, Wanamar comes from when me and my friend Shabab, who's this guy, like he used to say to me when I had really bad anxiety at uni. I don't think he knew that I was having anxiety at the time, but maybe he did. But you know, when I couldn't face going to lectures, or I was just fucking tired and lazy and just feeling horrible, he's like, come on bro, one more rep, that's all it is, you know. And that's how it actually started, how it came into fruition, like that, the name. So it's kind of crazy, the full circle, that he's going to come back and help on the business. I'm actually meeting him today. He's coming over to the house, and I'm going to hopefully be able to hand over some stuff. And like I was saying a minute ago, like when it's your baby, when it's what you've created from the ground up, and I've done all of this on my own, every single bit, all 4,000 700 followers have come from me. All 10,000 maybe orders that we've had in our lifetime have come from me. Half of them were packed by me and sent by me or my mum. So it's quite hard to just give someone the reins. I'm not obviously not going to give him the full reins, but like he needs to, like I need to pass over some stuff to him so I can stop worrying about it. Or at least consult some stuff with him, or allow him to come into the business and just put some systems in place, because there's no systems for me at the moment. Like everything is very unprofessional. I'm not gonna lie. Like if I had a business mentor or a business guru come in and dissect my business, he would be like, "How are you fucking making money?" I'm like, I'm not. So that's going to offer me a lot of value. I think it's going to give me some more time. And if I'm honest, like I'm not looking to free up that time with Wanamar and business decisions and this and that, and then fill it with something else. Like I'm just honestly just want some time back so I can chill out a little bit more and focus on bodybuilding. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I want to be on that fucking Olympia stage, and I'm gonna lay down everything to get there. Which is why I need to do this, because I realize like if I keep up at this rate, it's fine. Like I can sustain this for sure, but like if something happens, if I get ill for a week, it's like I'm fucked. Like it's done. Like I can't keep the cogs spinning on my own. I also don't want to take this amount of stress into my prep. Like I'm happy to take it in an off season where I don't need to get my cardio in, my steps, and feel rubbish. But it's a lot of stress to take into a prep, which I don't really want to do. So I want to be able to put I'm not going to be prepping now for 8 months or so. So I've got 8 months in my eyes to set up some systems that just allow the business to continue turning, and me to not be so actively, and me not doing everything essentially, right? So hopefully we can get someone in to do the customer service full time, because I'm not gonna lie, that's a lot of time liaising between the warehouse and the Wanamar page and people who have got an issue, let alone the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of DMs that I get a day on my personal page. It's really difficult for me to consistently grow my page, but then also focus on the Wanamar page. So hopefully I'll get some people in that can help me with the customer service. So we'll definitely be looking to hire some people soon. Someone who can look after the social media side, someone who can liaise with the warehouse, and just be a very, very good customer service representation. That's probably going to be the first step, I think. And then where we can, like, we're going to outsource. Like I've got a little bit of money saved from the years and years that I've been doing this. Like I feel like I've been pretty financially sound for the last probably 2 years. Like I started getting into some trading and like saving, and like I got a little bit addicted to saving and a little bit addicted to just driving profit and being like financially free when I'm later on in life. So kind of late 2019, I started putting some effort into saving. I've got some money saved in the business, which I've never taken out actually, which is why the money is saved. Every bit of profit or revenue has either been invested back into the business, whether that's through extra product, or designers or anything like that, or it's just been left in the account, which is probably not the best thing to do with money, but I've got that money now there so I can invest. Like I could pay someone, for example, I could pay someone now weekly for a year, right? And not have to get that money back. Like I'm talking like someone who's going to be doing social media like an hour a day, not like a full-time job. I'm not fucking got like 50 bags spare that I can just throw at someone for a job. So I got a bit of money there that I can invest into some help. But what's been difficult is like, I know the products that work, so the cuffs we know that work, right? But I'll buy 1,000 cuffs at once, but 1,000 cuffs ain't cheap. They retail at like 1,000 cuffs at retail. What we sell them is over £100,000. So the profit isn't fucking stupid crazy. So you can imagine how much money has to go out to buy 1,000 at a time. So when that money's out, like obviously the bank account is lower, so you got to wait for some of it to come back in. But So there's a lot going on in my head at once. I'm probably not even fucking speaking in the right order here, but yeah, it's hectic, and we're gonna get some stuff that kind of takes over that process a little bit. So we'll see how we go. All right, I'm gonna leave that rant there. That was a half an hour rant of my business and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, like I'm happy just to go into some questions. So we put out some questions out on the story yesterday. We'll probably just do just 10 minutes worth of questions, just because it just takes up to 40 minutes, because I did rant on a little bit there. I'm on TRT for life, 30 years old, 200 milligrams a week sus. Is Anavar a first good blast? So Anavar, you can not run very long at all. So there is never a case for running Anavar in any situation other than a prep, in my opinion, because it's just pointless. Like orals are very, very... Orals are situational. Orals yield the results you want very quickly, but the moment that you take them out, they kind of go, if I'm honest. Like, I use Winstrol during my preps. But between shows you'd come off. For example, in 2019 I had 6 weeks off, so I'm like, you can't run Winstrol for 6 weeks. So I did 2 weeks on, competed, went off, and within a week I was like, what the fuck has happened to me? And nothing else had changed. The deficit was still there, all the other drugs were still there, but I just removed 50 milligrams of Winstrol, and my whole physique was softer, of course. And I'm like, shit, that's so so you use it and then you take it off and it goes. That's the thing. So same thing with Anavar. Anavar can offer you some mild strength benefit and, maybe some situational hardness and leanness, but the moment you take it out, you sort of regress. But it's not necessarily the same when you use injectables. So if you're on TRT and say that's 125, I'd maybe just take it to 200 and then take it to 250 and then take it to 300. You don't need to do that for anything else. The one or more long ropes. So we've got some long ropes that we've been making. You guys might have seen me use 2 ropes quite a lot. We use the 2 ropes to reduce the force angle and just increase the connection and basically the direction that you can pull down in a pull down or triceps. So I made a rope that is long enough. So now gyms don't have to use two ropes. Kind of ingenious, but it's definitely going to work. And I've been using mine for the last month. Ordered maybe 500 units. So I wanted to get enough so that they don't sell out. I'm hoping that's going to be enough. And they're ordered maybe 3 weeks ago, so they usually take 45 days to come, because you can either order them through plane, which takes 5 to 7 days, and I pay import fees, which is fine, because it's about, I think it's 15% or something. But the plane ride will cost me as much as 500 of those ropes. So let's say I can't remember what they are off the top of my head. Let's say I paid £2,000 for 500 ropes. It would cost me £2,000 to send them by plane. So it's £4,000, which immediately puts the price of them way higher. My cost price, so therefore the retail price has to go much higher. But you can do it by train, and for that very, very same amount of ropes, you could send it for $250 versus $2,000. So you save a lot of money, but it just takes 45 days versus 5 to 7 days. So I cheaped out and I did it. But the reason why I did it is so I don't have to charge you more, right? I would literally have to charge almost, I either take half the profit or I charge double if I do that. So it's a very, very difficult scenario. I'm happy to take half the profit, of course, but there's got to be I've still got to make a right business decision. And just because something seems I've got to get it out quick, no, good things take time. So we'll wait for it to come. Are you planning on releasing vegan belts and straps? So the straps are actually vegan. I thought they were leather. They're actually a faux leather. They're not real leather. So vegans, you can definitely use the straps. Belts, I'll have to, if I'm honest, the ones that I've got are not, they're not vegan. So, but I've not launched them just yet, but we'll see what we can do. Primo / Mastron in the off season instead of MPP or Deca. Yeah, you could use it in addition to MPP or Deca. Kind of just depends on your stack in general, how much of each. You wouldn't use the same amount of Primo as Mastron. You'd have to use different amounts. But yeah, love Primo, love Mastron, love testosterone. I love it, man. Let's see. 4 weeks of cleanse for the first time. Start at 20 for 20 weeks, then 40 for 2 weeks. It means 2 weeks. Yeah, so with any drug, just start low and taper up. Like cleanse, if you just 20 micrograms is fine. See how you get on. Tolerance is probably going to be there in 4 or 5 days. Then you can go to 40, and then you can titrate up to your maximum dose as you want to yield results, right? You can use that as a calorie deficit inducer, so then you can either manipulate your cardio up, your food down, your lipolytics up, right? As your 3 choices. Whereas when you're natural, food down, cardio up. That's all you got. But with drugs, you can obviously manipulate things a little bit more. Did you go via the GP for telmisartan? So telmisartan is an angiotensin receptive blocker. So it reduces angiotensin in the body, which can increase water retention, but also increase your blood pressure. So I just buy it off a drug dealer, if I'm honest. I'm very tempted. I'm tempted to try and get a prescription for TRT and blood pressure tablets, but I don't. Like, I'm in the position where I can pay for it. So I don't necessarily want to go and burden the NHS so much with like, can you come help me with my self-induced blood pressure? I mean, everything's fucking self-induced, isn't it? Let's face it. If you're like fat, overweight, and you've got high blood pressure, you've self-induced that. But I don't know. It's a difficult one. I think when I'm done with bodybuilding, just so I can get it safe, like I know that it's 100% pharma, and I don't need to worry so much about fucking messaging a drug dealer and, you know, what happens in 20 years' time when the drug guy I bought drugs off for my IFBB Pro Prep is not selling drugs anymore. Like, it's going to get hectic when you're older, right? Having to try and, where's the best test that, bro? Like, nah, I'm just going to go to the doctors and do it. So, right now, I'm in a good place where I don't need to worry about it. Thoughts on just coming straight off cycle? This is way too vague. I always come straight off cycle, pretty much. Unless I've been on a prep, where you'll probably have an E2 flux, you have like an estrogen rebound. I usually just pull straight off. Do you recommend a good accounting firm? Yes, I do recommend you get a good accounting firm. I know it's not what you meant. I honestly have just changed accountants, actually. So I was with an old school guy. He was pretty good. He really was. I just found that it was quite difficult for him to understand what I do. And when I've got like 5 streams of revenue, like he wasn't overly sure. He wasn't overly sure with where he needs to be, and like the things that we can do. So I've actually moved to a social media specialist accountant. He actually is the accountant for KSI, which is pretty cool. And they can offer me some. Yeah, he can offer me some more insight into kind of the things that I can put through the business, ways that I can structure my business, because he's used to the exponential growth that it can give. Like, for an example, when I first went with my initial accountant, you know, I was like, he's like, oh, how much you earning? I'm like, oh, you know, man, my company's probably turn over like £50,000, and that's turnover, right? So they turn over £50,000, but I had to spend like 25, for example. And he's like, oh, that's cute. He didn't say that's cute, but, you know, but from there, you know, it was the first time like shit could double in 6 months, and then double in another 6 months, and then double in another 6 months. It can go like that. And I feel like I'm at the verge right now where if shit doubles, it's mad. It's a madness, right? And it's a lot of money that you got to deal with in the right places. Like turnover wise, I'm not saying like man's making bare, but like just in terms of turnover and putting any profit into certain like it's just the guy who I spoke to with the social media specialist is seems to have a little bit more of a just a know-how. Like when I say to him, like for example, my old accountant was like, so yeah, where's your streams of revenue? I'm like, oh, sponsors. He's like, what does that mean? They pay you money? I'm like, no, they give me a revenue of a discount code percentage. He's like, I don't get what you mean. And this guy, the new guy, I was like, oh yeah, so I get sponsors. Oh, okay, so you get like a revenue of a percentage. I'm like, yeah, exactly. So it kind of helped me a little bit. What's the time? 40 minutes. So we'll do the last ones. Do you know when the 1MR carabiners will be back in? They're in stock right now. How long is the 1MR rope? It's 1.4 meters. Why is stacking Masteron better than using AIs? Because AIs are neurotoxic. They're poor for blood glucose management, and they're given to breast cancer patients. So we don't need to use them that much. Very, very, very situationally would I recommend using an AI. But when you can use something like Masteron, which is fairly like using, it's going to sound stupid, but using more anabolics that can manage your androgen to estrogen ratio is literally better for you than using AIs to control it, for example. Do you offer consultations for blood work? Yes, I do. You mentioned you're investing in the S&P 500. Is that an ETF or some other way? It is an index fund. You can invest on it in a Vanguard. You can invest in it on eToro. You can invest in it on Free Trade. There's loads of them. If you start tests for the first time, is it best to do it when you're leanest? Yeah, I would definitely recommend being lean when you use testosterone for the first time. It doesn't mean you can't. Like, I did it when I wasn't lean. That was my mistake. I think I should have been leaner. But yeah, like, leaner you are, the better you're going to be off in terms of estrogenic related side effects. Last couple. How much do you charge for coaching? You know what? I never, ever put this publicly just because people are immediately put off by it. I like to sit people down, have a conversation, let them know what they're going to get first. Because people hear a number and they go, oh my God, that's so much. But they would pay a fucking personal trainer even more per month. So I have premium. Well, I'm going to say it because fuck it, why not, right? I have premium coaching, which is where you will receive video feedback across every single check-in. We also have one formal Skype call per month. Like, we'll talk face-to-face, live. Every single month, we'll talk over anything that you need to do in education, or we'll just run a normal check-in, for example. And that is £220 per month. And I have an initial 2-month minimum that I need you to take part in just so that we can have some minimum time together. I also have normal coaching, which is voice note response, just so I can increase the output a little bit. Also offer a slightly cheaper offer. Like, the quality is just as good. I feel like with the video feedback, you get a lot more personal response. Like, you get to know each other a lot better, which is beneficial for sure. Like, there are benefits to having that premium coaching for sure. And I can just go into detail a lot more with the premium coaching. And the non-premium coaching is £180 per month, or you could have the 2-month upfront, which is £340. So yeah, it's like £40 cheaper per month, and that's it. That's how much it costs. I feel weird saying that. I don't say that stuff out very loud for some reason. All right. That'll do. I've got a few more questions there, but I can't bother. There's a lot there. So we'll leave it there. Thanks you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll be back very, very soon. Don't forget to drop a rating. Peace, everybody. Bye-bye.